paying that stuff or being a member card. So it's a lot easier just to be.
Good evening. Welcome to our City Council meeting this May the 13th of 2024. We're going to start out with our invocation with Mr. Tony Walker, our Department Head for Streets and Sanitation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Boy Scout Troop 59. If you would, please stand with me.
Mayor, Council, let us bow heads. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for a time to come together, Father. We thank you that you're going to continue to bless our city, Father God. We thank you that you protected us last week during the storms, Father, that we lost no one, Father. That was some property damage. That's all, Father. We give you praise and glory on that. We thank you that you give our council wisdom to make decisions for our citizens, Father God. Bless them, order their steps, continue to watch over them, Father God, as they continue to do the city's work. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors. Color guard, advance. Color guard, post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, fine folks in Mount Holly. Tonight I'm going to keep it really short. After last week's events, I'd like to just say, hey, thank you, Fire Department. Thank you, first responders, for all you did to keep the city of Mount Holly safe and everyone safe. And during this time of hurricane season, tornado season, I'd like to encourage you all to always be prepared. You know, our scout motto is always be prepared. That's what I'd like to encourage you to do, is keep your eye on the weather and be prepared so that we don't have any accidents that could be prevented. Thank you, and y'all have a great evening.
You may be seated.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to set the agenda. Council, are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the agenda. Ms. Shoemaker and Mr. Craig, all in favor? It passes. On the consent agenda, we have 9 items. Are there any changes to the consent agenda? Hearing none, I need a motion. Ms. Harris and Mr. Reeves, all in favor? That passes. Okay, we're going to go to presentations now with the safety awards. Ms. Debbie Rogers.
Thank you very much. My name is Debbie Rogers Lowry, and I am the safety consultant for the City of Mount Holly. I have been for many years, and I'm very proud to be that. We have some special guests here tonight. We have the Commissioner of Labor, Josh Dobson. We have Nelson Edwards, the Consultative Services Manager. Yes, Supervisor. Yes. And we have Lori Keys. She's one of the Consultative Services Inspectors. They are here tonight to present the SHARP Recertification Award to 4 of our departments and facilities. We actually have 5 that are covered here in the city, but one of them, the police department, I'm very proud to say, they'll go through at the end of this year when it's time for their recertification. Now, these folks are here tonight to present the SHARP recertification. It has actually been just over 10 years since we started this program. And for those who don't know what the SHARP is a Safety and Health Achievement Recognition Program, SHARP, and it is awarded to individuals, companies, municipalities, departments that go above and beyond in their safety programs. And we definitely do that here in the city of Mount Holly. There are 4 components to this program that you have to meet in order to even participate in the program. And the components are your injury and illness rate has to be at or below the average 3-year industry rate for that particular type of department. For example, like a street and solid waste department across the state for 3 years, we have to be at or below that average. We also have to have management commitment. Management commitment is a very big part that all of you play, between the mayor and city manager and council, of course, assistant city manager, our department heads, our supervisors. The commitment of management to make sure that our employees have what they need, so when they do go out to do their work, they can do it safely. As the Boy Scouts mentioned earlier, the storms that we just had over the last week, very serious storms. The first responders, of course, above and beyond, as they always do. It also involved our street and solid waste department as far as clearing the roads, things like that, and our utility departments as well. So a lot of it was hands on deck. Employee commitment is a very large part of this program. We can have everything we need to get this job done, but if we don't have the commitment of the employees to go out and do what they need to do safely, and the idea that they can actually voice safety concerns and not only say I have a concern, but their concerns are heard. That's the biggest piece of this, is the employee commitment. A very large piece. And then the most fun part probably of all is you have to request and receive an OSHA inspection. Now, most people in their right mind aren't going to ask OSHA to come in, but we did that. We do that every 2 years, and we had Nelson Edwards and the lovely Lori Keys here with us, and everybody did a great job with them. Nelson looks for things that you can breathe, absorb through your skin, things like that, things that can irritate lungs and so forth. And Lori looks for things that you can trip and fall over, things that can fall and hit you in the head, things like that. So it's a safety side and a health and hygiene side. So you have to go along with both of those and get that taken care of, and we did that. And we've actually been doing that now for over 10 years. And to give you an idea of what our folks do, of course, I'm sure all of you know, but for some of you who do not know, I asked to have just a couple of facts and figures for you. Our street and solid waste department, the weekly garbage and yard waste for 6,900 residential and business customers. That's a lot of people that we take care of. Weekly garbage. Sometimes it's hard to take just the one garbage can out of the kitchen at night when you're done with dinner. Well, for these guys, they're taking out 240,000 pounds a week of garbage. In the yard waste, 30 pounds a week. And in their spare time, in the fall, they're taking out another 28,500 pounds of leaves per week. That's why they don't want to go to the mountains and see the beautiful leaves. They have plenty of them to look at here in the city. They also maintain 70 miles of streets, sidewalks, curbs, so that when we walk along the beautiful streets here in Mount Holly, you don't see the trash, you don't see things all piled up everywhere, because they are out there doing their job. How many is they? Only 18. 18 takes care of all of that work. I asked Ronnie with the utility department. Utility department is not here tonight. They're superintendents here, but the department itself is actually out working on a water main break, so they could not be here tonight. But I did ask Ronnie to put me together a list. He sent me 2 single-space pages of what they do. I said, no, Ronnie, I only need just this tiny much. So I'm going to share just a little bit with you. They maintain 130 miles of sewer lines, 128 miles of water lines, 2,819 sewer manholes, 841 fire departments, so when the fire department needs them, they're there, 18 lift stations, 4 water booster stations, 5 water tanks, and they average 20 to 32-inch water main leaks and 15 to 20 water main breaks, 6-inch to 12-inch annually. And that, again, staff of only 11 does all of that for us. Now, our wastewater treatment plant, in 2023, they treated nearly 2 million gallons of wastewater per day. So they came out with a 730 million gallons for the year 2023. Now, our water plant, and we have Jeff and his wife here tonight from the water plant, they treat 2.8 million gallons of water per day. And you need a calculator for this one. That comes over to 1 billion. 1,022,841,000 in gallons of water treated in 2023. So they do a great job. And water plant staff, 7, wastewater plant, 4. They do all that with the size staff that we have. So if you're looking for hundreds of people out here doing all this, it's not hundreds, it's a small staff that's dedicated to making sure that life in the city of Mount Holly is perfect. And they do a great job. And with that, I would like to call the commissioner up. He has a special gift for these folks. Commissioner Josh Dobson, it's nice to have you here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Mayor Moore, council members, thank you so much for indulging us and giving us this time. I know you have a long agenda, so I'm going to try to be really, really brief. I've traveled this state for about 5 years, and there's a lot that makes us special. The 9th largest state in the country, top 15th in growth, top in the country for business growth. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We can talk about agriculture, we can talk about our military, we can talk about economic development that you all are doing right here. Public education is very near and dear to me. If not for North Carolina's public education system, a boy from the mountains would not be here before you as North Carolina's Commissioner of Labor. So I could talk about all of that. But there's one thing that gets left out a lot when we think about the growth and the greatness of our state, and that's safety and health. If we don't have a robust reputation and commitment to safety and health, we can't be all that we should be as a state. And when I work with the governor, when I work with the General Assembly, and we talk about economic development and businesses and organizations that want to come to North Carolina and they want my 2 cents worth, now I can say, well, if you want to talk about safety and health, look at what the city of Mount Holly's doing and look at their commitment to safety and health. So I really came here tonight to say thank you for that. Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager, your staff here, top to the bottom, everybody, a total commitment of consistent discipline. And one other thing I want to mention about this before I make this presentation is I've seen a little bit of a commitment, but that consistent discipline that you all have had over a 10-year period is something that I've just not seen in my time as Commissioner of Labor. One other point, there's 141 SHARP sites across the state. 3 of them are going to be recognized here tonight, and that's a reflection of your all's commitment and a reflection of the rigors of this program. We don't just hand this out to anybody who signs up. You have to earn it, and you all have earned it here tonight. So I just want to say thank you for that. And Mr. Mayor, with your indulgence, if you'll come down and we can maybe have Ms. Rogers Lowry and my staff here with me tonight and make this presentation, and we'll get out of your way and let you get on with your business. Water treatment plant in recognition of over 10 consecutive years in the Safety and Health Achievement Recognition Program. It's my honor to present this award. Congratulations, Mr. Lowry. City of Mount Holly Public Works, Street, and Solid Waste in recognition again of over 10 consecutive years in the Safety and Health Achievement Recognition Program. Job well done, well done. Congratulations. Wastewater treatment plant, City of Mount Holly, wastewater treatment plant, recognition of 10 consecutive years in the Safety and Health Achievement Recognition Program. Congratulations on the job well done.
All right, I'm going to ask council to come with me down on the floor, please. I'm going to ask Mr. Sonny Rankin, Arthur Sonny Rankin, to come up, please. So Sonny and I kind of grew up together, but Sonny, I've known him forever. And I'm going to read a resolution honoring Arthur Sonny Rankin upon his retirement for 30 years of service here with the City of Mount Holly. Whereas Arthur Sonny Rankin has been a faithful and dedicated employee of the City of Mount Holly for 30 years, starting in the Utilities Department and retiring from the Streets and Solid Waste Department as a right-of-way crew leader. And whereas through thick and thin, Sonny met his goal of 30 years of service to his community by praying every day and carrying his Bible with him, proving others wrong who predicted he would begin working for the city and that he wouldn't last for 2 weeks, by steadfastly never giving up. And whereas Sonny is a native of Old Highway 27 here in Mount Holly, likes baseball and formerly played on the East Gaston's baseball team, and now watches baseball any chance he gets. And whereas Sonny loves spending time with his wife, Zandra, and family at his home, has a special place in his heart for his home church, New Providence Baptist, and also enjoys attending church at New St. Paul Holiness Church. Now therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the citizens of Mount Holly, the mayor and city council hereby express our great appreciation to Arthur Sonny Rankin for his service to the community and congratulate him on a job well done, for he has fought a good fight, he has finished his course, and he has kept the faith. Congratulations. Sonny, you want to say anything? All right, Sonny's just been great. He's always been very consistent. Anytime anything's going on, Sonny's in the middle of it. He's going to make it happen. And we're going to miss him. And he says he hadn't really done anything yet. He said he was going to wait about a month before he got out and fiddled around and goes fishing or whatever. So you want to go through and shake everybody's hands on the council, sir.
Mayor, council, citizens of Mount Holly, I'd like to call the firefighters that are being sworn in tonight, if you guys will come on forward. Stand up here. Deputy Chief Spry, if you'll come forward as well.
So this is a kind of a record, I think. We've never sworn in this many firefighters or sworn in anybody, this many people at one time. So we're going to swear everyone in first, and then we're going to, Chief Baker is going to go through and talk about their journey to this point, and then they'll get their badge pinned on them.
All right. I get the pleasure to stand up here and talk about these young men and the job that they do, and it's evident in what they did just this past week with all the storms. A lot of them were out there in the midst of everything that was going on. But that's what they signed up for, and that's what this badge represents. No matter what happens, we're called to come fix whatever problem it is. And we can't call anybody else except for ourselves. Again, I'm honored. City of Mount Holly Fire Department's been in existence since 1914, and we've tried to instill traditions, and all the way back to the badge that I wear on my shirt here. The badge is synonymous, again, what we talked about, it's a shield, and it's what we stand behind, and it's traditions and heritage that we want to bring back. So the badge that these firefighters are going to get will have a number at the bottom of that badge. That badge number will go with them throughout their entire career with the City of Mount Holly. So as a firefighter, they'll be assigned a number. If they make it to captain, they'll be assigned that same number, but it'll just be a different colored badge. So at this point in time, I'm going to actually call Ross Stewart. He's all the way down there at the end. If his wife, Emily, and son would come forward. Jessica, I apologize. Oh, that was so bad of me. Come to the podium, yes. So, yeah, I had to have you come across. So, Ross, just this past week, was recognized as our Firefighter of the Month. If you'll notice, he has a boot on his leg. He was injured. He ruptured his Achilles, got better, came back on the truck, and then on his day off from work, his son fell into the swimming pool, and he took off running, and when he did, his Achilles ruptured again. But it just shows that our jobs are never really over with. Even though we're firemen, we're still dads. We have responsibilities. So, Ross, good job on taking care of that little dude right there. I'm not going to get too choked up. But Jessica, if you would you please pin Ross? Oh, all right, you're here. At this time, Ethan Mitchell, if you'll come forward. Ethan got into the fire service about a half a year ago, brand new. His father, Jeff, is going to be pinning him. A little bit about Ethan. I asked each one of these guys why they wanted to be a firefighter. And so he started his career because he wanted to be part of a brotherhood, to have a purpose in life, and helping others on their worst days, and then gaining lifelong friends. So, Jeff, if you would come forward. Jeff. Devin Robinson, if you'll come forward. He started in January of 2022 as a volunteer in Dallas, North Carolina. His girlfriend, Taylor Wright, will be pinning him. He chose to start a career in the fire service to an opportunity to do a job that he loves to do while being able to make a difference in someone else's life in their worst day. Taylor, if you'll come forward. Dustin, if you'll come forward. Dustin started in the fire service in 2023 as a volunteer in Waxhaw, North Carolina. But it really was born, his career was watching his dad growing up. His dad, Dennis Arney, retired from the Charlotte Fire Department, is going to be coming forward to pin him. He said he started his career because he was born into the fire service. Seeing and hearing my dad's hero stories always grabbed my attention. I love waking up and coming to work. I'm committed to being there for the people on their worst days. Typical 9 to 5 was never for me. I needed something new, fun, exciting. Being a fireman has genuinely changed my life, and I couldn't be more blessed. David Tower, you will come forward. David started his fire service career in 1998. I had the pleasure of working with him when he was in Mint Hill, North Carolina. And he comes with a multitude of experiences and certifications. Most recently, he worked for the town of Harrisburg, North Carolina. We're honored to have him with us. His daughter, Mackenzie, is going to be here to pin him. Mackenzie, if you want to come up. He said he's a people person. He loves helping people, making a difference in someone else's life. The job gives the satisfaction of helping others on their worst days of their life. Michael Taylor. Mr. Taylor started the fire service in 2009. His dad, Chief Fred Taylor, is going to come forward to pin him. Michael said that he joined because he loves to give back to the community and helping people. Plus, it's just the best job in the world. Yes, sir. Paul Carson. Paul joined the fire service in December 13th of 2022. He was a part-time firefighter in Stanley. His fiancee, Emily Hodges, will be pinning him. Emily, if you want to come forward. He said he started his career in the fire service because he wanted a career that was hands-on, high-paced, and where he felt like he could make a difference in someone's life about helping them in any way that they could. Some people say you always save the best for last, right? Trent? Trent, if you'll come forward. This is firefighter Trent Smith. He joins the fire service 3 years ago, Union Road Fire Department as a volunteer. His girlfriend, Hannah, is going to be pinning him. Hannah, if you want to come forward. And what Trent said is being able to save and help people on a daily basis and creating a bond and friendship with others is why he joined the fire service. So I just want to wrap up by saying this is an amazing number of firefighters we just brought in. Over the past year, our department has completely changed. We are probably, I'm going to say we are the best fire department in this area. No offense to Charlotte, but we're in the city of Mount Holly and we do the best job. And council, thank you for your support, administration as well. And we just look forward to continuing getting stronger. We're a very progressive fire department. We train every single day. And the quality of firefighters that we're bringing in here every single day is bar none. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief Baker, and congratulations to all the new firefighters. We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Oh, no, you're fine. It's good. It's a big moment, right? Absolutely, yeah. Oh, I brought my I'm good, thank you.
So you met my wife at Golf Tournament. She was the one selling the
Which golf tournament? I just played in 3 like in a
month. CRO.
Oh, no kid. Okay, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
She had the green shirt on that day?
I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah.
But she's short around here.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, yeah.
She told me tonight that she mentioned.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, because I remember she was selling mulligans the way it was set up. It was a good tournament. I love Pine Island. Yeah. It's still in good shape.
Yeah.
I don't get to play there enough, actually. Yeah, since it's private. Yeah.
I'm starting to get back into it again. I play like a couple times a year.
Really?
With my buddies, we go to Myrtle Beach or wherever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Golf trip. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, good.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good to know it's your wife now.
Hey, Lauren, I'm Jared.
Hi.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Clear down, huh?
Yeah, that's why we needed that break in.
Hold on.
All right.
Yeah, I can see how like growing up with that, you either have like a total opposite reaction, or like no way I'm ever doing anything like that, or ooh, like my dad when I grow up, I'm surprised when my kids want to find out that them. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, you grow up, the one that live in
I hope it's all right.
And it's really, I mean, it's like a really tight knit community. It's, yeah.
So on this public hearing, I guess I should just, I'll read all this and have Paul come up, and then, I'll have all that stuff, and then we'll go into, I'll ask for a motion to go into public hearing.
Right.
And then, we'll open it after I read that and let Paul say a few words. And,
I don't think I've ever seen
have to
it like
continue, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Let's have a motion to continue.
Yeah, fire stations.
Right. Immediately, once it gets continued, take a vote, and then next public hearing will open.
Lace it. Right. Just close that one out, and then we'll just go.
Oh, believe me, I'm blind too. Like I was.
So we'll just need a motion to open the public hearing, and a motion to continue the public hearing.
Yeah.
And then we'll set on that. How we doing? Doing okay? Good.
Yeah.
Paul about this one is June
Like the last couple of years,
7 p.m.
oh, you're right.
Okay.
So you'd say June 10th.
So like, I've never been able to.
Is that a 5-minute break or
more?
also appreciate, some discussion.
Well, that's
Right now I can't see until here, so like there's this range like right here where I can see, and I
Yeah.
can't see out.
So we'll probably
These
just
contacts, they bother me so long. I got glasses. Well, I got glasses in 6th grade.
I think it's fine to go into public hearing and have some
7th grade, I got
discussion.
contacts. My dad put them in for me like until I was like 9th grade. And then like the rest of my life was all right.
Either that or it's just,
Every time I wake up, I
Yeah,
have
I'm
to
sure.
wear glasses.
Well, like we said, I'm sure that they aren't used to being that busy. Because that's the first meeting that we had downtown.
And they probably wasn't even thinking about it.
because they just had two.
but otherwise we'll pick up.
They had to have been tired, but I'm sure they made pretty good money.
Yeah,
I mean, they were
it was
absolutely
jam-packed.
slammed. Yeah. And I mean, it seemed like it happened all of a sudden. I guess the band geared up and people kind of transitioned in and out.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good.
So who are we
Brown
missing?
Square, but I wouldn't be able to tell you like what it said.
Like on the doctor's offices with like the letters, I couldn't even see the first big one skid. Like, it was bad.
Yeah, I think I'm probably not there.
Yeah.
But my vision's like minus 4.
I don't even know what Ocho. I was like bifocal.
Oh, that's a problem. That's Ochoa is this. He might have meant to sign up for that.
Got contacts in like 9th grade. Worn those ever since.
That's the second public hearing.
Right.
That's public hearing number 2. Mr. Ochoa might have meant to sign up for this.
Oh, we're sitting on right over here. Right. I don't know. We might need to ask.
Oh, these are good. Just like that.
Does the applicant need to sign up for a public hearing?
This,
I
right?
don't think he would need to sign up.
You may not even need to sign up. I think that, Mr. Mayor, you can recognize him simply because he was the applicant.
Right.
Yeah.
Ochoa.
Ochoa.
Oh, right.
And that's just before public comment. So he just signed up on the wrong sheet.
Right.
Contact lenses, or you could like have the glasses, or you could like.
I think they're trying to get this public hearing. I think they're trying to get the public hearing straightened out.
We should be
Who's
ready to go.
speaking?
Shouldn't we? Everybody's here. I think. I'll get them two tater heads.
If he would,
Yeah. That's hard. Yeah, I've never had problems with like contacts, but so I'm just having. I think I got like this.
I think he would keep it a bit longer. Okay.
All right.
I haven't talked to him.
All right. We're going to continue our meeting. Okay, we're going to do recognition of the police department's zero deficiency letter from the North Carolina City Board 911. Mr. Blanton.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of months ago, I pointed out that our 911 center had been through an audit and that zero deficiencies were reported. I wanted to formally recognize the great work of the police department. Chief Reagan, Sergeant Kell have done an excellent job showing that this assessment revealed no deficiencies. And a letter from the North Carolina Department of Environmental Technology stated that a zero deficiency report at the time of your assessment is something that is not easily achievable. So this is a first for our police department. It is a wonderful accolade to the men and women that work in our police department, and wanted to formally recognize their efforts tonight and certainly thank them for the great work that they're doing day in and day out for our community.
Okay, now we want to recognize the Finance Department for the Government Finance Officers Association's Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for fiscal year 2024 budget. Mr. Blanton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And on that same note of good news, I certainly wanted to formally recognize our Finance Department. A couple of months ago, February 12th, our Finance Department received notice that we received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association. This is a national award that is not easy to come by. Becky, Michelle, our finance team have done an incredible job ensuring that we get this award for our recent budget. It is a great accolade to the talent, to the staff that we have, and the wonderful job that they do to ensure that we have a top-notch finance department. So certainly wanted to formally recognize them, thank them for their efforts, and bring that before the council tonight. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Blanton. We're going to go into our public hearing portion now. Public hearing for a proposed text amendment to amend Section 6.4, Table of Permitted Uses, Business, Professional, and Personal Services to allow contractors' facilities with open storage to be permitted in the H1 zoning district while removing this use as an allowed use in the B3 district, case number TA 24-3. Mr. Lowe, Mr. Paul Lowe.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So, in your description, basically this is just a pretty straightforward text amendment. Functionally, how it's written, it would remove this use, contractors with open storage, as a permitted use in the B3 district and allow it in the HI district. So the Planning Commission heard this case at their meeting in May last week, and there was concerns over just the amount of B3 area and the amount of HI area that we have in the city. So they were looking for us to recommended that we table this discussion to another future meeting. So basically they were interested in having it still allowed in the B3 district and also in the HI district, but in the B3 district to come up with more buffering requirements, and that would be dependent on if you're on Brickyard Road versus you're on 273 or on 27. So staff would just need a little bit of some time to come up with those buffering requirements. And if it was, but staff is recommending that it be tabled to a future meeting. But if it did pass as written, current contractors with open storage in the B3 district would be legal non-conforming uses, and then so it wouldn't impact current operations. So if they would cease operations after 6 months, that's when they would have to comply with current code if this passes. But again, city's staff is looking to table this request, and I can answer any questions.
Okay, before we go into our public hearing, are there any questions from council? Any comments? Okay. Hearing none, I need a motion to go into our public hearing. Mr. Huff, and second by Mr. Craig. All in favor? There was no one that has signed up for our public hearing, so I need a motion to go out of our, I'm sorry, we need to continue our public hearing until, I think the date was June the 10th of 2024 at 7 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So I need a motion to do that. Mrs. Harris and Mr. Reeves, all in favor? That motion passes. All right.
Thank you.
So we're going to go into our second public hearing for a text amendment to update the zoning ordinance, Chapter 6, Table of Permitted and Special Uses, Section 6.4, Business, Professional, and Personal Services Penalties, and Chapter 7, Special Requirement Notes to the Table of the Permitted and Special Uses to allow pool businesses in the L1 zone. Mr. Josh Blackwell.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, citizens of Mount Holly. Thank you for your time this evening. As he stated, this public hearing would consider a text amendment to allow pool construction businesses in the light industrial zone with a special condition that they construct screening across the front of the business. This application was submitted by the Ochoa family, owners of Ochoa's Pools. We have two members of the family in the audience tonight, Mr. Javier Ochoa and Lena Ochoa over there. This text amendment was initiated because We put a stop work order on this business for operating a unpermitted business in the light industrial zone. This business is a property that we have had a long history of code enforcement cases against, going back even to prior when this family took over the business in May of 2022. They purchased the property. Since May of 2022, in December of 2022, we initiated a very large code enforcement case against the property where we towed 5 vehicles off of the property, and it resulted in a lien on the property for $2,950 for cleaning up various items across the property. The property remained clean for a little while, and then items began to accumulate again. And we had another code enforcement case that was initiated earlier this year, and we cleaned up the property again. And there's been an auto business on the property that the Ochoa family has allowed to operate there. When I met with them originally in 2022, I let them know that this auto business wouldn't be allowed. They continued to allow the business to be there, and it's been documented that up until at least January of this year that that business was still operating out of an auto bay on the property. So we have a code enforcement issue. What we also have is, if you look on the screen, this property is mostly located in the flood zone. Currently, there's a dumpster on the property that's being stored at the rear of the property that's not anchored, does not have a floodplain development permit to cover that dumpster, and that's a violation of the floodplain ordinance in Mount Holly. We also had some issues where the fire marshal had to come out to the property and get it inspected and bring it into compliance. Now we have a planning issue as well. Currently, the business is not allowed to operate in a light industrial zone. We do have businesses called contractors' facilities with open storages and contractors' offices that are allowed in Mount Holly. However, they are not allowed in the light industrial zone. Open storage would be allowed if you scroll all the way up in the B3 district, and then contractors with no storage would be allowed in B1, B2, B3, and MHMU. So it is staff's recommendation that the council deny this text amendment. The Planning Commission also voted 8-0 to recommend that council deny this application. If you have any further questions about this, I'll be happy to answer those.
Okay. Anyone will have any comment or concerns on this from council before we go into our public hearing? No? All right. I need a motion to go into our public hearing. Mr. Huff and Mr. Reeves, all in favor? The motion passes, so we're now in our public hearing. I do have Mr. Ochoa. I think you signed up on our unscheduled public comment. Would you like to speak, sir? Either of you? I need you to come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Lino Ochoa, and he's my uncle, Javier Ochoa. We own the Ochoa School Plastering. We bought the property back in 2022. When we bought the property, you know, it was a really mess over there. It was a mechanic shop, and it was like a dealer. And we tried to clean up the mess, you know, that those guys left. There was like, when we bought the property, maybe it was like 50 cars everywhere, you know, and it was hard for us to take all those cars, you know, because the guys who used to rent the property there, they didn't own all those cars. So we'd be telling them, and can you move the cars? Can you move the cars? And we didn't, I mean, we're not about bad persons that just, you know, town the cars and all that, you know. We try to help. He also mentioned something about the dumpster on our back of her shop. When we bought the property, in that river there was couches, there was tires, there was a mess over there. We cleaned everything from the river. We try to keep the river clean. We try to keep our property clean, it's really hard for us because we have 40 employees. And, you know, we try to leave the cars parked in certain spaces. He lives on the house because we own a house also over there. He lives there, and like I say, you know, it's really hard for us to keep it clean. But having a dumpster in the backyard is because we don't want to have it in front of the property where everybody sees it, you know. And he also told us about, you know, we can have the dumpster on the back or put a fence on the front property, but we brought it to on the back. And like I say, you know, all we ask is, I know we violate some rules, because, you know, maybe we didn't, we received the letters, but we thought that the case wouldn't go through this, you know, with all the violations. But all we ask is, we already, you know, made some mistakes, but we're just trying to you guys stay there, let us work. You know, like I say, we have 40 employees. We provide for their families, and we work hard. And I would like, you know, to stay in the city of Mount Holly and trying to help the community, and just you know, let us work, you know, because we do pool business, but we're not all like, we get in like around 4 a.m. and then we come to the shop like around 10 p.m. or 8 p.m. Nobody's there during the day. We don't make no noises. We don't do anything. We just go there, load our materials, because we don't build pools. We do what is called the shotcrete and the plaster and renovation. So we tell the guys 5 a.m. we show up there, park our cars, load our material. That's what we have in our shop, materials like cement, stones. We load our trucks, we leave, and then we come back like around 10 p.m., 8 a.m. So I think we're not bothering anybody. If there's some trash, we try to keep it clean. We always try to keep it clean, but yeah, that's all I will say. You know, just let us stay there, and
Okay.
you know.
Thank you, Mr. Ocho, for your comments.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other comments from the council? Okay, I need a motion to come out of our public hearing back into our regular meeting. Mr. Huff and Mr. Craig, all in favor? We're now back in our regular meeting. You guys can sit, if you please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Does anyone on council would like to make a motion or have any discussion more on this issue? Mr. Huff?
My concern is it's historically been a bad property. Okay, they purchased the property. Now, that's a separate issue because it's continued to be issues that were their issues, not the historic issues. Regardless of what decision the council takes, what are we going to do to help clean that property up? That is one area I get more complaints about, and it is deplorable. And I'm not saying they did it, because 18-wheeler tractor trailer's been there for as long as I can remember. Mm-hmm. The only way you see it's when all the leaves are off the trees, right? No telling what else is back there. So regardless of what we do regarding this case, I just want to know what we can do as a city to help whomever get that situation abated, because it's not good for the water, it's not good for the aesthetics, and those are some, you know, growing neighborhoods down there.
Sure.
And the neighbors themselves don't deserve to have to live beside that.
Any other comments? Okay. Would council like to take any action on this request?
Well, I think we have a standing committee that's made a recommendation that was unanimous, and I would say that we support that. Yeah. and deny the text amendment.
All right, so I have a motion from Mr. Huff. I need a second from Mr. Craig. All in favor? The motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Blackwell. Okay, now we're going to go into our public comment. We have Miss Janice McCrory signed up. Ms. McCrory, if you'll come up and state your name and address for the record, please. Looks like Miss Cindy's coming with her. All right.
And my name is Janice McCrory. I live at 176 Tom Sawyer, and I'm here to remind you about the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation. We want We just want to tell you that we had an excellent race. The 5K, 10K was on April 27th. We were really excited. We did some things different this year, so we hope we can build on that next year. But I know Cindy was excited because we had almost 200 registered runners.
Wow.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about is we had, I want to remind everybody about the art and business crawl that's on June the 7th and 8th. On the 7th, it's going to be at the community garden and at Tuck Park. And again, we're trying to work with getting people through town and around and doing things in town, so we're excited about that. There's a juried art show here in the Grand Hall on Saturday. And if you haven't seen the art, I bought 2 pieces last year, and it's really very, very good art at a not bad price most of the time. So the business and art crawl is going to be 10 to 2. And then the juried art show is here after that, so that's when people will sell their art. And the other thing I just wanted to make sure I reminded you about, oh, and Cindy says it's too far out for this, but remember the plein air is in September, so put that on your calendar because we want everybody to remember to look for the artists around town. They'll be in different places around town doing their painting, and then they can buy those. I can't keep it straight. Okay. Questions, anything? I just wanted to remind you we're happy to be collaborating with the city. We're excited about the art that's coming around and getting things done, so thanks for the collaboration.
Any comments from council? Thank you guys for all your efforts with,
Thank you.
You stay so busy doing so many different things for the community. Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Gary Brinkley.
Good evening. My name is Gary Brinkley. I live at 176 Tom Sawyer Lane. You should have my address memorized by now. I'll expect Christmas cards from each of you. I'm back again to talk about property taxes. Last month, I recommended that the City Council vote for a 0 property tax rate for the coming year. I still recommend that. The concept of returning dollars to those that provided the funds is gaining momentum. I'm sure many of you may have read about the state of North Carolina is predicting a $1 billion tax surplus, and they're investigating how to refund that, and I hope they figure out how to do that soon. On a more local basis, in this venue last month, there was a discussion about the insurance carriers for our city insurance. And as part of that discussion was a $500,000 excess premium balance that might be returned to the city. And there was general consensus that was a good idea. So returning money, excess money back is a good idea and a good thing to consider. And that's really what I'm talking about. As I mentioned last month, since I moved back here in 2012, that makes 11 years in a row, the good, I think, revenue management, expense management, we've had 11 years in a row when the general fund balance has gone up every year, somewhere from $300,000 a year up to $6 million one year. And so we now have a general fund balance that's grown from $4.2 million in my base year of 2012 to now $24.8 million at the end of fiscal year 23. It's time to return money to the citizens. A 0 tax rate this year would require about a $10.8 million contribution from the general fund. We have $24.8 million, so we can manage that.
1 minute.
I have one further recommendation that someone told me, the state of North Carolina requires cities to keep a certain amount of money on hand. That's not true. We don't believe there is any regulation, and I'm recommending that this council set a policy that would keep somewhere from $3 to $6 million of operating expenses on hand and operate within that bandwidth. And that would help us keep the general fund from growing, unless we've got a specific stated public purpose that we know we need to save money for something. And, there may be cases where we need to do that. And finally, I've got a motto that I want to ask you to adopt, which is be a hero, vote for 0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brinkley. All right, Mr. Greg Black.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Greg Black. I own Greg Black Mouthpieces at 117 West Central Avenue. I come here tonight almost 10 years ago to the day when I was before you about relocating my business from New York. Greg Bill did a great job walking me through the seeking a variance and rewriting one part of the code to be able to make my products at that address, and walked me through the process of getting council approval. I could not be happier and prouder than to be back in my hometown owning a business on that street that I walked thousands of times growing up. I was aware of the history of the flooding on the street when I relocated, but in the back of my mind, I was hoping I would never have to experience what happened in 2011. Last Wednesday, along with my neighbors on West Central, we had to experience that again. The flooding wasn't as bad, but it was bad enough to have 15 inches of water at my sidewalk coming through my door, which means at least 21 inches above the drain grates. The city has been very helpful over the years with multiple water issues pertaining to the drainage by installing backflow valve, and I can always reach out to Robbie Stewart, sending a crew to clean up the sidewalk when human waste and sanitary products are on my sidewalk that comes up through the cleanup pipe. He's had to file reports with the state because of those items going into the Dutchman Creek because of fresh water. The main issue remains to be the volume of the debris that comes down the street and sits on top of those grates and goes down into the drain pipe. Mayor Moore did come by Wednesday afternoon and told me the pipe going under the railroad tracks had been relined, along with other pipes on West Central. But in my opinion, the pipe size must be increased to handle large volumes of water. I know getting some help from CSX will be very hard, but we business owners in West Central can't continue to have this issue. On Friday, I was cleaning out my sidewalk, and a City of Mount Holly worker stopped to speak with me. He mentioned that the City of Mount Holly has a large truck that has the capacity to remove water and debris from areas down below by using a large hose to vacuum out that material. Mm-hmm. I feel that a bi-monthly maintenance program must be started to clean that area down below. Lastly, I'm not only proud of the domestic customers that have come to visit and experience Mount Holly, but the international ones as well. Moving is not something we want to do, but it is certainly a consideration at this point. If I do move, a future tenant will have these same issues, and there will be no business continuity on West Central Avenue because of this. I would like to submit some pictures for further review, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Thank you. We're going to go into new business now. Discussion of the 4 sculptures associated with the leased art program. Mr. Paulo.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. As you know, we've been working on establishing a leased art program in the city where we will lease sculptures for a 1-year period. So at this point, we started with 4 locations. 3 in city parks and 1 on Clariant's property, and we appreciate the support and cooperation between Clariant and the Parks and Rec Department. It'll be at River Park, Tuck Park, Catawba Heights, and again along Clariant's property. And we have 2 8x8 pads and 2 4x4 pads. And then for the art, we're working with the art consultant out of Cary. He helped us find the art that we ultimately selected. The art that's before you this evening for approval went to PAC and also the Parks and Rec Board, and was both boards recommended approval. So there's 4 works. This wave is going to be at River Park if approved, and Red Ribbon is going to be along the Greenway. Athena is going to be at Tuck, and then Plato's Playground is going to be at Catawba Heights Park. So, and then if the art is approved, we have lease agreements, and then the city attorney has made up for us, and then we will pursue those to lease the art. And again, if approved, then it would be a year term, and then we would change out the art every year. moving forward. I can answer any questions.
Any questions from council? Mr. Huff?
I'd like to make a motion, we approve.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Huff, a second by Ms. Shoemaker. All in favor? It passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. All right, fiscal year 2025 summary, Mr. Blanton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Friday, I sent out the first draft of the fiscal year 25 budget. I wanted to put an agenda item on tonight's meeting prior to next week's work session, which will be devoted to the budget. I have a quick few highlights from the budget. Wanted to gauge council's interest on any changes or any additional information that finance and I can work on over the next week leading up to the budget workshop on next Monday night. Just briefly, the draft budget keeps the tax rate as it currently is at 40.5 cents. We are looking at numerous different projects that we're working on. There's going to be about $4.4 million in capital improvement projects in the general fund, and then roughly in the enterprise fund, $5.4 million in capital projects. We have several important items to note. One being the wastewater treatment plant will be funded for the upcoming fiscal year. We received word from Charlotte Water that it will be late 2025 before we're able to go online, so we provide for the basic operations of the wastewater treatment plant. You will note the streets and solid waste department. It is increasing. If you guys will recall, we've looked at the past couple of retreats what it would look like to contract out with Waste Pro. That will be an uptick in the budget because of the contracted services that it will cost to pay Waste Pro. I believe that the policy thought process behind that a couple of years ago was we would not have to buy additional garbage trucks. We would not have to budget for additional personnel moving forward with the streets and solid waste department. 4 positions have been removed, 4 full-time positions have been removed from that particular budget. There are numerous different personnel changes that are accompanied for in this budget. And after reviewing with staff, after looking at the issue regarding insurance, I wanted to bring that back to the council. Currently, we are proposing to remain with the League of Municipalities with our health insurance. We have reached out to numerous organizations that are self-funded. Had difficulty finding any organizations that are the size of Mount Holly that are currently being self-funded. If council would like to transition towards a self-funded project or self-funded plan, I would recommend that we spend some more time researching, putting in together a transition plan on what that would look like, as we will have to make a decision this week regarding our renewal process. Those are some highlights of the recommended budget. I know you guys certainly haven't had time to dig into it to the extent to be able to discuss a lot of detailed information, but glad to answer any questions, gauge council's interest in any changes, amendments, or additions that you guys would like to see in this first draft budget. But like I mentioned, we will be together next Monday night to dig into it and more deeply. So certainly would open that up for conversation or any discussion, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions from council? Mr. Huff?
Just a note on the health insurance, just to make sure we understand that when the switch goes from MedCost to Aetna, you're no longer going to have the information you have today to make that decision. You're at a 61% medical loss ratio. 80% is break even for an insurance company. Does that make sense? I don't understand the hesitancy. To me, the right move is now. You're not going to have better information. You're going to have less information, and more employees are going to be impacted by this transition and being in Alexis's office because of it. So that's just based on the information that we've seen and what we have. That is my input on that.
Mr. Meadows.
So the self-funding seems very attractive as well, in that if we don't like it, we can always go back to the standard carrier if we don't like what we experience. And from my understanding is the administrator is the same, so if we go self-funding, who we face today will be the exact same people. So I'm not understanding the hesitancy to make that change, or at least give it a go.
Ms. Harris?
I'm not sure if I understand all of it. You know, you were talking to us about Gastonia does it,
They do, yes, ma'am.
and they have to have a doctor. Is that correct?
They have an in-house doctor, a nurse, doctor nurse at the city that they have.
So would we have to do that?
Mr. Huff?
Having spoken to Michael Peoples, the city manager in Gastonia, they made an organizational decision that employees could be at work longer and better if they treated them at work for minor issues like colds, et cetera. So that's a wellness initiative that is separate from the insurance initiative. So understand you're paying all the cost. You're doing it one way or another. Just because you have a $50 copay doesn't mean somebody else isn't paying the $200 balance, right, when you go to the doctor. So no, it does not require you to do that. Is it a good practice to help manage your costs better? Yes.
So Gastonia just did that, had that in their budget, just to have that nurse on standby, okay.
That's correct.
Mr. Reeves?
I guess I'm not real understanding how this self-funding is going to play out. My concern is if we have an employee that has a large medical bill that could run up into millions of dollars, does that come out of city funds or does that come out of, how does that play? Because I understand, self-funding to me means we pay for it. That's what that sounds like to me. So I know we've got a surplus now, but my concern is if we have that one incident where we have somebody that runs up a bill $2, $3, $4 million, where does that come from?
Mr. Huff?
So when Mr. Flynn was here from One Digital, he discussed stop loss coverage. So you get an aggregate stop loss and a specific stop loss. So in specific stop loss, you can get $50,000. So the organization would be on the hook for only $50,000. The rest of it would be paid by insurance. Now you could pick $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, just depending on the size of your plan. So that helps protect that employee, the city, and the employee is not going to be impacted by that any more than they are today based on the plan benefit design that is in place. That doesn't change. The only thing that changes is now we're actually paying for what we're getting rather than paying for somebody else's claims in another city who isn't doing what we've been doing as a city to keep our people healthy. I mean, we talked about safety tonight. That's part of their health. That's part of keeping people at work and keeping them healthy.
Any other comments?
If I may, Mr. Mayor. And staff is prepared to move forward with the self-insurance option. We can certainly make that happen. I just wanted to, number one, get it back to the council. We discussed it last month. We had the presentation from Mr. Flynn, but if that is it would be a very large transition. I wanted to make sure that we had council buy-in, and if you guys want to see that change, we will certainly make that happen in this upcoming budget. But I would need clear direction, as we do need an answer in the next couple days.
Mr. Meadows?
I don't know what he needs for direction consensus-wise, but if staff is hesitant, is there not consulting outside of Digital One that you could hire with the transition to make sure that we're covering it in an appropriate way, outside of our normal staff to teach them kind of here's how this works, instead of what we've just kind of gone to One Digital and they kind of hire our carrier and then they take care of it all. I'm sure there's consultants that do this that could help us with the transition.
Certainly.
Just to clarify, One Digital is a consultant. 90% of their book of business is self-funding, just so you know. I was in the health insurance industry for 25 years, which is why I've been speaking to this. But use whoever you want, I don't care. But the point I'm making is you're already with somebody who does self-funding regularly. That's what they do. Fully insured on a 200-man group or 150-man group is obsolete. Because cities don't do it is this reason right here. They don't understand it, they're conservative, and they don't want to make a mistake. And this, because you don't understand it, makes you hesitant to make a decision that's right for the city. Just because you don't understand it completely, like Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund, doesn't mean it's not a good move.
So, Mr. Blanton, you need information in the next couple of days, or could that go to next week when we meet again? Is that too late?
We'll have to make the renewal this week.
Okay, well, we need to make a decision tonight.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we move to the self-funded.
Okay, I have a motion by, a second by Mr. Meadows, and Mayor Pro Tem makes the motion. All in favor? Okay, then we've got a 3, and all against? 4-2. 4-2 vote. And it's for the self-funding. All right. Mr. Blanton, you have your direction, right?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, and we will certainly make those changes in the next few days. Are there any other issues that you guys would like to talk as we prepare for the budget meeting next week?
All right. Okay, moving on to the city manager report.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, certainly, I want to note the wonderful night that we've had. The safety awards were incredible. It was a wonderful opportunity to have the commissioner here. I certainly want to thank our employees for the great work that they're doing, and that certainly is showing by the awards and accolades that we're getting. Certainly want to thank the public for their patience over the last week. There have been a lot of weather-related issues, but police, fire, our streets and solid waste department, utilities worked around the clock to ensure that we were able to continue providing services. So certainly want to thank our team for the great work that they've done over the last week during very difficult times. Certainly want to thank the foundation for the 5K on the great day that we had. Springfest unfortunately did not pan out like we wanted with our Saturday event, but we had a great week of celebrating. Certainly thanks to the public, mayor, council who participated in the events that we had a couple of weeks ago. It was a great week, even if we weren't able to celebrate on Saturday. I want to thank everyone that came out last Friday night. We had a great night downtown and looking forward to the next one on June 7th. So certainly invite everyone to come out. Looking forward to a very exciting summer here in Mount Holly. And that is all I have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
All right. So now we're going to go in, I'm sorry, Mr. Meadows.
I apologize for coming in late, but there was an item on the agenda that you've already gone through that I wanted to personally raise with the recognition for the budget with the finance office. I know that was several years in the making, and I am beyond thrilled about the work that was done and super proud of the effort that was made. So I just wanted to make sure that made it on the record. I apologize for not being here when the item was talked about earlier, but these guys have taken us from one place to another, and where we are now is outstanding.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Meadows. So I need a motion to go into a closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318, 11A, 3, and 5. Mr. Reeves and Mr. Craig, all in favor? We are now in closed session.